It really gives a clear and accurate picture of where our national economy stands. The economy is gradually progressing, with the growth rate estimated to rise from 2% for 2020-23 and to almost 4% to fiscal year 2023-24 and potentially even higher in coming fiscal years. Recent data shows moderate inflation at 5.4%, which has been trailing downward from the July 2023 and July 2024. This gives us the realistic but optimistic view of the growth. Usually, high inflation holds back real GDP growth, but right now, the trends are positive, looking positive. Agriculture has experienced stable growth over the past 3 years, and we have seen improvement in transportation and storage over the last 4 years. The accommodation and food services sectors have also demonstrated consistent growth during this time. The information and communication sector has made some modest progress, and the key sectors such as agriculture, tourism, hydroelectricity, transportation, and accommodation, and will keep driving our economic growth. Additionally, the construction sector is expected to play a greater role as a capital expenditure has increased in 2024 compared to same period in the previous year. Currently, the capital budget expenditure stands only nearly 6%, but October 2023 it was 3.6%, and for 2022 it was 4.9%, and during the same period 2021 it was 1.2%. But here, in capital expenditure presented in our in the presentation, it was underestimated because we need to capture not only the central level data but also provincial and local level data we need to capture. That is why it is underestimated. The government has prioritized the completion of nearly finished project, which bring quick benefits. Additionally, the National Planning Commission has initiated reform in the budgetary process, with focusing on medium-term budgetary frameworks to ensure sustainable development. This year is especially important. We start putting the 16th plan into action, which takes a thematic approach. This new approach and will help us to review and improve the existing sector strategy programs, especially where we may have the missed connection between the sectors. By fostering a deeper understanding of the synergies and trade-off between the sectors, we can find better way to achieve sustainable development. Recognize that these synergies and trade-off allow us to better prioritize and redesign or remerge the existing program, ultimately enhance the output and creating more employment opportunities. The budget process, along with the project bank and medium-term expenditure framework, is very important for improving our public money spent. To strengthen the macroeconomic and financial stability, as well as the ensure effective resource allocation and budget formulation process requires substantial improvement. The special attention should be given to developing the medium-term budgetary framework, where scientific prioritization tools can ensure more effective resource allocations. It is important to recognize that the root cause of the challenges in public spending are systemic. The system itself has inherent issues where one problem often leads to complicated to another. While quick fix may offer the temporary relief, they fail to address the deeper and interconnected problems. We need a system-wide approach that looks how each step for the planning and budgetary to implementation affects the next, so we can address the root cause of these challenges. NPC hold the authority to coordinate among the three tiers of the government. At the provincial and local level, challenges arise resource allocation due to conditions and provision of various grants, particularly complementary and special grants. We are predominantly focused on the infrastructure development. To address this problem, we need to revise our procedures and equally emphasize the infrastructure, socio-economic infrastructure, and human development. NPC is actively working to improve these procedures, fostering a more balanced approach, and additionally, the NPC will support a shift in development thinking, with a focus on improvement, living standard, and driving the sustainable growth. These efforts aim to improve the resource allocations and enhance the government spending capacity, particularly in capital expenditures. Increased capital expenditure has a direct impact on private sectors, encouraging more investment in the real economy. It will strengthen the supply side of the economy. It is important to note that without improvement in the domestic productivity and job creation, the increase in aggregate demand may lead to higher imports. Imported products, particularly final product, have limited capacity to create the job and can negatively affect the local production by absorbing the purchasing power of the domestic goods. Therefore, it is essential that increased aggregate demand supports the domestic production rather than the increasing imports. Now we have three guiding documents: the National 16th Plan, Smooth Transition Strategy (STS), and SDG Implementation Plan. It is essential to internalize all of these documents, ensure their successful implementation, and achieve tangible output. Nepal is set to graduate from LDC, Least Developed Countries, LDC, and status in November 2026. The graduation will have the significant impact on economic growth, employment, poverty, inequality, international trade, and official development assistance and Nepal participation in international forum. We need to pay more efforts in these areas. STS has been developed to guide the Nepal through a smooth, sustainable, and quality graduation. This strategy aligns with the Nepal long-term sectoral and national development plans, focusing on green, resilience, inclusive, and sustained economic growth to achieve the national goal of prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali by 2043. The strategy also ensures a smooth strategy transition from LDC status and aim to sustain this achievement in future. STS provides a platform for collaboration between the ministries, different level of government, federal, provincial, and local, and private sector, and various stakeholders to push forward important reform and strengthen partnership to secure the resource needed for graduation. The Nepal has incorporated the 2030 agenda for sustainable development into its national policies, plan, programs, and has made continuous efforts to localize these goals at sub-national and local communities. The collaborative efforts of the government, private sector, and stakeholders have brought about significant socio-economic changes in the country. In conclusion, The sustaining growth will require ongoing reform in key areas such as budgetary process, governance, and fiscal federalism. Additionally, remittance inflows play an important role in promoting economic integration. These remittances have directly contributed to improving living standards of the people and poverty reduction, offering hope for brighter and more prosperous future. Thank you once again.
Remittance is the key features of Nepal's economy. So, remittance has both opportunity and cost, as you mentioned, and as we look various costs in the two insightful presentations of the two presenters, we have several costs of the remittance. First of all, the cost starts from before going to different countries, like taking loan from the neighbors and landlords, and some take loans from banks. These are the major costs before going, and they face several hassles before going for the foreign countries for the foreign works. And when they go to the abroad, and they face several challenges, because the first and foremost thing is they haven't get skills before going to abroad, and they become laborer and household workers. So these are the major challenges, and when they become household workers, especially women, faces several challenges physically and financially, and so many aspects. These are the cost, and social cost also we do have from the migrant workers, because they left their family here, and especially their women family member have the great burden for maintaining the families here, and in some cases maintaining agricultural works also, despite the household works. And in some aspects, women family members don't get opportunity for their career development. These are the most cost, and we all know about how to reduce cost, but the efforts are not sufficient up to now. Just there are problems. We have to focus on solving their problems to reduce the cost. Just I mentioned, skill development should be done in efficient manner. Technical education should be given. Practical education should be given to the migrant workers before going to informal financing mechanism. So is also the appropriate mechanism for reducing their cost, and their safety is the main thing. Our embassy and ambassador can do on these aspects to improve their safety arrangement and their getting their rights in while they are in abroad. Thank you very much.
I'm always intrigued by some of the narratives. I never understood how GDP, the remittance is part of GDP. Whatever I learned is it is possible to be part of GNI, but I don't know. Nobody explained it to me. This percent of GDP is remittance. Where is D and where is remittance? Probably somebody will explain it to me. And then although I am supposed to give only closing remarks as an economic enthusiast, if not a student, what I see is a lot of what has been asked and presented. Where do we stand? But the question of how do we do that if we have got low rate of employment, low rate of productivity? and low rate of revenue collection, anything, how part we need to enter into. I think the NDU update will be a good reference for that. On data, I think we have become data doctors. The data used by NDU, even by anybody else, is very, very questionable. One data I can authentically say is in the first line of NDU says is the 3% growth in agriculture and 4.3% growth in paddy production. I wonder where do you get this data? I have traveled to almost every district of this country, and there used to be an agricultural development office that has been liquidated. There is one office called Knowledge Center, and I asked about any basic data in this agricultural offices, and they don't have anything. They say, we don't know. We are not supposed to do that. And when you come to center, there is every data. Where did you get data for paddy production and paddy planting? I wonder. So what my emphasis, it is same. We highlighted so much on Living Standard Survey 4. My understanding about research is that every sample survey should be representative and should not contradict the outcome of the population survey, regardless of whatever method you apply. But we have a census data. The entire census data is contradicted by the Nepal Living Standard Survey. For me, it is a trash. Throw it in the garbage. No use of it. Same I can say with the 16th plan. So why I am saying this so harshly is we are not entering into the how of the solution of the economic problem. Mainly 5 problems we know, we listed. We have got low productivity, low employment, low absorption rate of resources, and low capital expenditure. Public procurement and transparency is a problem, and shrinking revenue base is the biggest problem. The government is in big conundrum. So we probably need to enter into those 5 problems. There was the way we have found. Unfortunately, the institutions like World Bank have lost the momentum. If you look at the 7 key areas of economy of this country: banking, insurance and finance, hydropower development, telecommunication, ICT and digital economy, air transport and including public transport, tourism, higher education and health services. We had a fantastic private sector investment in our first round of reform, pro-private sector reform. That narrative has lost. I don't see, World Bank is trying to appease the whoever comes in the government. Probably they have got the compulsion of working, so-called working with the government, but without pro-private sector reform, all these are going to be stories, not the solutions of anything. So there is a big hype of a second generation structural reform. There was a time when World Bank used to lead this. And unfortunately, the World Bank mission was downgraded from country director level to country manager level. And then I was asking your new country director, are you going to be staying here? Yes, I'll be traveling, but I'll be here. So please take ownership of this, because there has been a great policy aberration in reform after 2000, I would say. In all three aspects of it: the legal reform, remember the acts, Nepal Rashtra Bank Act 2002, Secure Transaction Act, the Company Act reform. There are many I can name, which made a very substantial difference in legal regime. Institutional reform, the downsizing, the voluntary retirement schemes, the digitization of the economy. It was there. The financial sector reform, it gave a fantastic result in at least, even if a government, every finance minister tries to sack the central bank governor, but it gets reinstated thanks to the central bank independence ensured by the act. But that momentum has lost. So there has to be somebody to take sort of ownership of it. Of course, Nepal's policy framework should take it. Even in institution level, my view on the centralized planning system and the existing of the central planning is known to all of you. Honorable Vice Chairman, member, and former Vice Chair is here. So I don't want to repeat that. But let's have faith in the restructured shape of the state. It is the federalism. In the entire report of NDU, I didn't find any strength, weaknesses, usability of federal structure even in the remittances, relating it to the remittances. So it cannot be only the desk work if you believe in research, if you believe in data. And I have a very, very harsh question. That's the final question. We have got the monthly data coming out from Nepal Rashtra Bank as a macroeconomic situation. ADB is coming out of the same biannual report, and we are adding NDU. If we do not believe in the fresh data, fresh outlook, just to point out the trend, some bars, some bar diagrams, the graphs, I think that will barely add value. So there is no need of duplication. I don't think any new data coming into here on the whole chart. And if the fanfare is good, you have chosen Kathmandu University, we are happy, we are collaborating with World Bank. The one greatest reason for that is World Bank has started to believe in consultancy approach than research approach. That is the easiest way. Every new country manager, country director is new, comes here, he needs some channel, a bureaucrat who can directly put in personal contact with the politician, and that bureaucrat, former bureaucrats becomes the highly paid consultant, not researchers. I don't know why did you choose Kathmandu University as a research university. I can show you the 10 reports in different areas prepared by the same single consultant in the World Bank. Do you want me to name? 10 different. Hydropower, trade, public financial management, federalism, everything single consultant, highly paid. Magic. In our religion there is Krishna, who is called omnipresent. And you have got those omnipresent consultant approach here. So it is a good thing you are producing NDU, but let's make it meaningful, something original. That adds value to it. And if you are thinking of institutional reform, it is important. The World Bank can focus in only one thing, that is pro-private sector reform. That has given result. If you discount all the years, that is not computed based on the base year, low growth base year. It was 1994 that in our history had the highest growth rate of 8.4. That was the outcome of 4 years of continuous pro-private sector reform. Imagine the 7 sector I mentioned, you take out from the economy and the amount of investment it has done. The country is blank. But today, the most frightened is the private sector, although I don't believe. They are not investing. We know what we should do. We should bring private sector investment, attract foreign investment. That what we know, what we should do. But how do we do? Who is going to support is very, very key. Do we believe in fundamental research outcome of it? That is the question. If you really want to partner with the institution like ours, who have got the tremendous research capability, we are ready to give a fresh look into it. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.